What is up guys, and welcome to my channel and for another crazy build for Stranger Paradise. As everyone may know, Ninja is a very good secondary class. You can use his tools to easily reach max MP at the start of every fight, as well as one of his tools which can allow you to tank 3 attacks from the enemies without taking any damage at all. That said, I've always wanted to main the Ninja. His tools are really fun to use, and now with the newly added classes from the DLC, we have now got ways to refill our tools mid-battle, which is really amazing as before we could only get our tools refilled by interacting with the cube at the start of the missions. Now we can finish entire missions without ever running out of our tools. We can now actually just keep spamming our tools and not be concerned about them running out at all, which is why the Ninja class is now viable to have as a main job and not just as a secondary. The boss damage is also ridiculous with this build. Using both our weapons and our tools, we can break bosses near instantly. We make full use of both the classes that are offered by the Ninja, so let's get right into the build. So let's firstly go over which jobs are best to use for which mission. We use the Fuma Ninja class when we are fighting bosses and the Shadow Master class for everything else. For missions like the Ebon Memories where you face only bosses, we can get away with not having our tools being refilled because the damage alone will be enough to kill all the bosses that we won't need any more than 20 tools to finish the mission. This class can even kill the Warrior Light and even Bahamut without any troubles at all. The affinities that you will need for your ninja is at least 2 at 400%. We get the Assassin to 400% so we can use the Final Moment skill. This will increase our break damage the longer we avoid taking damage. We will hardly take any damage just cause how fast we kill everything, so we will always have this bonus active all the time. We get 400% on our Tyrant. This will cause all our attacks to be critical hits if the enemies are inflicted with a status effect. The critical hits are what will be causing the massive break damage. Then finally 250% on your Black Mage is also good as it will add bonus intellect to your stats. Then any other affinities that give bonus intellect, agility or break damage will be good to have. Affinities like the Mage, Paladin, Stage, Duelist are all good choices. Let's now have a look at the weapons that we use. We are using a very specific dual blade for this build. It's either one of the main Gauche, the Dancing Dagger or the Zul Crossblades. Any one of these dual blades will work, and the reason we use this specific one is because it comes with the ability Force Wall. This is what we use to kill bosses in their first phase. This single move can break bosses faster than anything in the game. This move is really slow and doesn't have the bestest of range, which is why we use this in the first phase of the bosses only. As soon as they spawn, you should be ready with this move right up in their faces. The reason this move is so good is because it is scaled off of your intellect and it can also inflict the water status effect. With the affinities that we have, we will have this move hit crits with every single hit. And what's best about this move is that you can hold down the attack button when you perform this to increase the amount of hits as well. Definitely the best weapon for this build. You can just see how fast it can melt through all the bosses in the game. The stats you'll need across all your weapons and gear pieces is intellect, agility and critical break damage dealt. Intellect will increase the damage from all your tools as well as your force wall move on your weapon. And the agility is what will increase our break damage on critical hits. The command abilities that we use are Summon Tachi for just good old increased damage. Lunatic is actually important for this build as force wall is really slow, so you will need this for sure. Lastly, you can go for anything you want. I like to have the Seal of Blood handy so I can easily soul shatter the enemies. You could easily go for invisible if you are running with a party. For your secondary job, I have used the White Mage this time around. The class we use on the White Mage is the Alabaster Lord, so we can get the free skills like the haste and the regen. We can use this job just like we did before with the ninja to reach max MP at the start of every fight. Just keep on chain cancelling your spells to reach your max MP, and then you can just regenerate your MP at the cube. The affinities that you will need on your White Mage is 400% Void Knight for cheaper command abilities, 250% on your Samurai for increased damage when you chain cancel, 120% on your White Mage to increase your buff durations, and finally 120% Summoner to increase the max MP whenever you chain cancel. Here's a look at the master points for the main ninja job. That is it for all the weapons and gear pieces that you will need for this build to work. Even if you don't have the correct affinities on your items, even if you have the first 3 that I mentioned, which is the Assassin, Tyrant and the Black Mage, you will do just fine. When you're playing with this build, the best way to play it is just to spam your tools on all the enemies. A single tool is enough to inflict them with the status effects and replenish the tools back for you to use. Some enemies may get killed before the status effect even gets inflicted on them, like the spiders or any of the smaller enemies. So the best overall tool to use is the earth one. It will almost always inflict the status and break the enemies in one hit. This build is not very MP extensive. You will hardly ever use your MP other than just to proc your command abilities and to use your force wall move on your dagger. Even when you use your force wall, it won't drain your MP too much anyway. Since it breaks bosses so quickly, you will hardly ever use more than 2 bars. Your moves on your white mage, which you can use to chain cancel, is also free because of the class that we are using. Also, since your force wall inflicts water, it can also be used to replenish your tools. Another great use for this weapon and the ability for this build. Hope you guys enjoyed the build. I'm really happy to have finally come up with a really viable build for the ninja that can do any content in the game. It is really powerful and I was surprised as to how good the new classes are on the ninja. What do you guys think of the build? Let me know. I would love to hear from you all. I will catch you all next time.